Have you ever left an interview feeling defeated? There are definitely some tricks in the interview process, and today I'm going to talk about the behavioral job interview. The behavioral job interview is when an interviewer asks specific questions requiring stories about past work experiences and behaviors. Usually the questions will start out with, tell me a time in which, describe a situation when, or give me an example of, and you have to fill in the blank. The information I'm going to present is from Quintessential Careers and from my personal experience. The first thing you need to do when you're expecting an interview is to look at the job description. The job description should give you key ideas of what kind of qualities they are expecting you to bring to the company. These skills may include communication, leadership, and decision making. So what you need to take from those skills is a specific example of each of those skills from your past. My trick is to write the stories as they come to me in a journal. So one day I may be really good and deal with a specific problem using my communication skills. That night I'll go and write it in a journal. That way whenever I'm getting ready to do the interview process, I can pull out that journal and I have all of my stories there. I just have to match them up with the skills that they show the best. So after you have gotten all your situations and you match them with the skills that they show, you're ready for the next step, developing your situations into responses. There are three things that interviewers want to see or hear whenever you are telling your responses: a situation, an action, and a response. It's called the STAR method or the STAR method. What you first want to do is take your story and explain the situation. You want to make sure that you have all the necessary information in your situation so that the interviewer knows exactly why this was a problem and why you needed to take action on it. Then you want to list the steps that you took to correct the action. You want to be detailed here so that the interviewer can really understand what actions you took, but you don't want to confuse detail with being long. You then want to describe the responses to your actions. If you have numbers to quantify your results here, this is definitely something that you want to do. That way the interviewer is able to understand exactly how well your actions worked for the situation. This would also be a good time to mention actions that didn't work or that you would change the next time. That way your interviewer knows that you've grown from the situation and you were able to analyze how well your actions resulted. Let's look at an example. The last interview I had, one of the questions was, give me an example of how you have addressed customer concerns within your store. First thing you do, take a big deep breath and gather your thoughts. And then you start with your situation. When I first became a CSM, the cashiers weren't spinning their carousels. So customers were leaving merchandise that they had paid for at the store. Interviewers able to understand that in a service industry, I am making customers upset by having their merchandise left at the store. The next thing you want to do is list your actions. So what I did was I talked to my store manager, got his opinion on what he wanted to see and what he didn't want to see. I set out a disciplinary plan, and then I got that approved by my manager. After I got it all approved, I went and took it to my coworkers, and we were able to mess around with it a little bit just to get it so everyone was understanding and we all thought it was a good idea. And then we all went to our cashier meetings and dispersed it, and were able to tell all the cashiers. The one thing that was really important about this is that whenever the cashiers had a question, they were directed back to me so that not every single person was telling different cashiers different things. We wanted to make sure we had a clear vision of exactly what was happening, so if there were questions, they came to me. By being detailed in your actions, the interviewer is able to paint a picture of exactly what happened, and he's able to form an opinion on what he thinks the results probably are. So a few months later, I was able to look at the numbers, and I was able to see that in February 2009, left behinds were at 54. The year before that, left behinds were at 91, and they kept falling. In March, it was 41 left behinds versus 87 from the past year. Obviously, this disciplinary plan has been working, so we've kept it as a policy in our store. And so customers feel more confident whenever they come in. They're going to be able to leave with their merchandise, and they are, in a more consistent basis, being helped by us. In my results, it showed that they were clear. They were able to understand that, yes, it was falling, and by mentioning that the policy is still in place and reverting back to customers, which was the beginning question, I was able to wrap up the whole entire question as a whole. Now you should be able to better understand and prepare for an interview. The key to an interview is rehearsing. You may think it's silly to get up and rehearse all of your situations, but whenever you get into an interview, if you haven't rehearsed, they're going to be able to tell. Now you should be able to walk in, ready to go, with no surprises, and leave feeling confident.